The last time Virginia made the trip to Johnny Unitas Stadium, 2010. A team featuring stars like Bachlet and Stanwyck coming off back-to-back Final Fours would beat Towson on the way back to a third straight trip. 12 years later, a familiar story. The two-time defending national champs invading Towson, looking to stay perfect. The Tigers hoping for a marquee non-conference win. It's number 2 Virginia versus Towson here on our CAA Game of the Week on Lac Sports Network. And with that, we welcome you, Travis Eldridge, alongside the Beast, Greg Gurenlian. Greg, this is an awesome opportunity for us to see the two-time defending national champs. But Virginia, it's a classic trap game. They've got Syracuse coming up next week. You can't look ahead of this Tigers team that can be pesky.
Point of emphasis from Lars Tiffany. Do you guys want to be hunters or do you want to be hunted? They started off slow the last 2 games, so I think they're going to be ready today.
When you look at this Virginia offense, it's the guy who emerged during last year's NCAA tournament that we will keep our eye on. That is Connor Schellenberger. 24 points during the NCAA tournament, most outstanding player of that tournament a year ago, and he's off to another hot start.
It says a lot when you have a star-laden attack, and it's the young buck Schellenberger who's getting all the attention with 13 points so far this year. He's been more of a feeding role so far, so we'll see what he can do today.
On the other side, this is a Towson offense that has really improved from a year ago. That's thanks to a couple of Maryland transfers in Nick DeMeo and Kyle Berkeley. 15 points combined through 2 games.
Yeah, a real good offensive injection from College Park coming with these two. The question isn't the talent. The question is, can this unit get used to playing together in a cohesive manner? And we're going to be on display today with that.
And we take a look at the goalie that those guys are going to try to have to beat here for Virginia. It is the true freshman, Matthew Nunes, out of the Woodlands, Texas. He has come in. He started all 3 games now of the Virginia season. True freshman has not been afraid of the stage. Had a terrific game against High Point on Sunday. 16 saves. He's the reigning ACC Defensive Player of the Week. On the other side, you go complete 180 of what Nunes is experiencing as a true freshman as a starter. Shane Brennan has seen it all. The 6th-year guy out of Huntington Station, New York, with a goals against average a little over 12. He's 1-1 here in his first 2 starts. He is back in cage for the Tigers. He has had a roller coaster career so far, but another opportunity, one more chance here in his final season to maybe score an upset win. At the Face-Off X, we will keep an eye on Petey Lasala, who enters this game just 13 face-off wins from taking over the face-off career record at Virginia. So we will watch that throughout, and we are about set to be underway. He faces off against Shane Santora, the sophomore out of New York for Towson, and Virginia wins the opening face-off.
You're seeing on that opening face-off what makes Petey so special. Lars Tiffany doesn't believe with the new rules that Petey's quote-unquote an elite face-off guy. I don't think I agree with that, but he says what makes Petey special is this moment right here. He just ran through traffic for a tough ground ball. He can stay on, and he's not afraid to do the big little, set a screen, keep the face-off man on, and dodge from behind.
Here's Connor Schellenberger, mentioned him in the open. First midfield unit on here for the Cavs. This is Jack Simmons. Gets it over to Peyton Cormier, the junior out of Canada. It's a midfield unit that is missing Jeff Connor today. He was banged up in that High Point victory last weekend. Expected to be out at least a week. We are unsure of what his status will be for next week, because there's an early save. Simmons sliding into his role, and his shot is stopped here by Brennan.
Coach Nadalin on defense is going to have a lot to think about. You have a Virginia team that scored on 1/3 of their shots so far this year, and on over half of those shots, they were assisted. They're known for spitting the ball around real quick, so you have to decide if you're going to slide or not. You see how that develops throughout the game.
See a look at this first midfield unit for Towson. Kyle Berkeley, Ryan Swain, Andrew Milani. This is Berkeley out of the box, gets through, and the Tigers strike first. Very similar to a goal we saw him score last week against Hopkins, his 6th of the year already.
What? Man amongst boys right here. No fear. swim a guy, dive straight into the crease. Fearless.
Kyle Berkeley taking on all comers. There were 2 or 3 Virginia jerseys that had a chance to put a lick on him, and then Berkeley just slides through them all.
That'll be interesting here with Shane Santora. Petey brings that left hand straight up on the whistle. We'll see if they continue to try to beat him on the clamps like they tried there right there, or if they continue to try to shovel him and try to get the counter work going.
You mentioned LaSala's ability offensively. And a couple of goals in the season opener against Air Force already this year. We saw it in the NCAA tournament. Lars Tiffany saying there are times that he gets the ball and you have the opportunity to trap a face-off guy on there, and it's almost, you can almost play like 6-on-5 because of his ability and skill offensively.
Absolutely. And a lot of times you'll see a face-off guy will stay on the field to make it a 5-on-5. And when LaSala's out there, it's not to make it a 5-on-5. He's not going to just go walk into the corner by himself. He's actually a part of the offense. They'll pass him the ball and he'll dodge.
Got Mitchell Whalen, a long pole, still on here for Virginia. See him by the crease is Schellenberger. An absolute laser from distance.
This is what makes UVA so threatening. They'll bounce the ball around constantly. Everybody who's on that offensive side of the field is a scorer at any point. And, I mean, this is almost PLL range right here.
Just high heat from Schellenberger. His 4th goal of the year. We've mentioned him as a distributor. 10 assists so far this season, but showing you he has got range to go along with his ability around the crease.
So an interesting thing that's happening with the COVID rules and all the other stuff, the referees are deciding how they want to do the face-offs. Without the physical set call that you saw from 2015 to 2018, a lot of these guys, they're not really sure when they're supposed to be set. The referee's just taking a glance, and what they're doing now is if you line up improperly at all, they're just going to blow it dead and give it to the other guy, which I'm fine with, but they have to be consistent with it.
That's what you just saw there. Here is LaSala staying on, wrapping around, shot wide, race for the corner. And Schellenberger gets the nod.
Huh.
That was interesting. It looked like Kobe Smith for sure had the step.
Wow.
Now Schellenberger has Smith hung up. Kobe Smith, an All-American candidate at close defense. We've seen his terrific career here at Towson. One final season for the Tigers. This is Will Corey, the junior midfielder. Sends it behind. Griffin Schutz. And it's tracked down by Xander Dixon. Did not reset the shot clock. Stays now at 10. Another one that doesn't hit the pipe or the goalie. So 5 seconds left for Schellenberger. Got to go quickly, in tight, and that one finds the side of the cage. We saw this Towson defense struggle a bit against Hopkins early as the two teams traded goals in that first quarter. You have to think some early stops against Virginia builds the confidence.
Yeah, you read my mind, Travis. I was actually going to mention that. We all on the call with Coach Nads said that second quarter was atrocious. And look, Nads is one of the greatest defenders in the history of our game. If you have to not worry about anything, usually it's Towson's defense. And I think they're going to be, spend some time on film. They know what they need to do. They look really cohesive right now.
Well, that was kind of the surprise last week as this one is turned over on the sideline. That was the surprise in that opener against Hopkins, that continuity-wise, it was the defense that returned a lot of the pieces from a year ago for Towson. That was the more veteran group of guys who had played together, and instead it was the offense that came out firing. The defense got off to a bit of a slow start.
You're right. You also have to remember that Hopkins had a pretty large face-off advantage in that game. Their sophomore Dunn did a very good job of getting them possessions. it's hard as a defense when you're constantly playing defense to stay in the game and not let it get emotional, especially if another team is starting to hum on offense.
Yeah, for sure. That played a huge contributing factor, especially in that second quarter. Full head of steam here for Simmons. Sends it behind. Tic-tac-toe. Somebody deflected that in front, and Garrett Singalia scoops it up.
You'll see on these dodges, not only the first slide, but the second slide and the recovery. Everything is moving very smoothly for Towson. They should be very happy with what they see early.
They'll slow it down. Here's the first touch for Nick DeMeo today. He's got a hat trick in each of his first 2 games in a Towson uniform. Coming over from Maryland. We mentioned him in the open, one of the Terp transfers. Look at this offense. You include James Avanzato, who joined this program before. The 3 Maryland transfers have been huge for Towson offensively so far. Here's Austin Stewart. Part of the second midfield line for the Tigers, joined by Austin Dukeman, who is an imposing figure in Chop Gallagher.
Chop Gallagher is a phenomenal athlete, a great talent. He got hurt last year out of the Portland, Oregon area. Just a great athlete, trained so hard. And it was a bummer to see him get hurt. Glad to see him back out there healthy because he's like 6'3". He's a monster.
Quickly the other way, Simmons wasting no time. This is one of the things Towson knows Virginia likes to do. They'll run with the best of them in transition, and also mention the pressure, the ride for Virginia, something that actually Lars Tiffany was hoping to improve here this year, but something that Towson knows Virginia uses as one of its calling cards.
Absolutely. Can change the game on a dime, and they're very efficient with it.
Seeing a lot of Jack Simmons here early. Nice defense. Turned away by Brandon Hunn, the short stick. Peter Gardo stopped by Brennan.
Towson is just known historically for having great short stick D guys, and they're going to have to call on them today so that they're not going to have to slide as quickly as most teams probably will.
And there is the pressure, turnover at midfield. Something to keep in mind on those long clearing passes. There is a heavy, heavy wind today here in Towson, Maryland. High wind warnings went into effect right around noon. So on top of the fact that temperatures in the 40s, feels like it's in the 30s, the wind only makes it even worse.
Yeah, that is a tough, especially as someone sprinting down the field. It just feels like you got a wall against you on certain parts of the field, depending on where the wind's going.
Inside, another stop. This is a pretty good look, but the Tigers able to sniff it out. And here comes Kobe Smith. He can go in transition. Winds and fires! An absolute rope from Kobe Smith. His first of the year.
Kobe Smith from the hip. It was close to a 5-on-3, too. They had numbers big time. And you could tell he was feeling it. That windup started pretty early. Oh, yeah.
He's got some, he's got moves through the roof. I tell you what, PLL coaches take note of that range because him in transition in the PLL game with that 2-point line is absolutely filthy.
Coach Andy Towers right now smiling. Yeah, I like that guy.
And a face-off win here for the Tigers. Scooped
so
up.
That would be more the strategy there if you're Towson. If you can, people always use the term tie up. That doesn't really mean anything. But if you can get underneath his glove to try to make him think. The only real weakness to Pini LaSalle's game is that when you come up underneath his stick and try to shovel him up and counter him, he tends to drop to his knee and fling it out.
Ball sent behind here to James Avanzato. Now Milani on the wing. Milani looks. DeMeo trying to get the hands free, and our first save from Matthew Nunes.
Man, Matthew Nunes seems so comfortable all the time. And it's just so weird for a freshman to seem that cool and collective. Lars Tiffany used the term poise. It's through the roof.
Yeah, I tell you what, to step in, especially in a place like Virginia, who's won back-to-back national championships, in large part thanks to the play of Alex Rode, for them to turn to you as a true freshman and say, hey, here, the game is yours. I think it says a lot for the type of guy that he is.
Absolutely.
As that one saved inside, Xander Dixon, I think he played that with his hand. Here comes Kobe Smith again.
Oh, they're getting out on him now.
not
20 yards out.
Yeah, they're not giving him that 5 yards of cushion so he can get into 15.
I like Towson's approach, though. They're trying to play fast. They don't want to be in just a 6-on-6 game. Virginia's defense is so good. Their goalie is so good. They're trying to score early and push it. I don't think you're going to see a lot of shot clock issues on either of these offenses today.
There's Chop Gallagher. Now Dukeman trying to squeeze that pass in. And loose ball in the corner and scooped up by Quentin Matsui. Still fighting for it, took a shot. Virginia defense so large. It's made a big point of during their NCAA tournament run as soon as Cole Kastner slid into that starting lineup. They go 6'5", 6'7" across that close defensive unit.
Yeah, that's a lot of range right there, and that makes it a lot easier for you to cut down your angles. It makes the slides easier, makes it harder to throw the ball through traffic. But I love the desperation that Towson's playing with. Every loose ball, even the ride right there, they made it real hard. That's going to add up later in the game.
And another stop by Brennan. He's been sharp here early. This is a Towson team that knows these are golden opportunities in the non-conference. They have a bunch of them. They play Duke here in a couple of weeks. They got a matchup with Loyola. Their non-conference is loaded with opportunities against top teams, and every chance you get one, especially at home, a chance to show everybody what you have.
Yeah, and this is Towson. I mean, there's a lot of pride there. This is a really good historic lacrosse program, and for them, they don't look at this as a chance to make a point. They look at this as just another big game. They've been in big games before, and I think that's what Coach Nads has brought to the table here at Towson, and he expects his guys to show up regardless of who the opponent is.
Here's Ryan Swain. Tough angle to score. There's the transfer again. DeMeo with his first of the day, 7th of the year.
The shooting is just so confident. Watch this. He knew exactly where he wanted to put this. Catch and rip immediately. Shows the stick head low. Gets the goalie coming down, and then puts it right under the bar.
So a strong start for the Tigers. They lead 3-1, and another face-off win.
Shane Santora is also a Long Island guy, and he was a wrestler in high school. He is a fiery, hard-working, quiet kid, and he's not going to just sit back and say, Petey, congratulations on this new record. He's going to fight and claw, and he expects to win faceoffs.
Give him a lot of credit. He did battle with Petey LaSala last year. Santora going 10 of 32 in that loss, 20-11. Virginia winning at home to kick off last season.
And experience is a lot. You might say, 10 for 32. But that means he took 32 faceoffs against Petey, so he's 32 faceoffs better as far as knowing about him. And that's really, really important.
Andrew Milani got himself in a tough spot there, and he turns it over. That large defensive unit for Virginia all towering over him.
That's a frightening place to be.
Here's the short stick. Noah Chismar goes right in, a save. Brennan's been all over it.
You think Brennan is kind of sick of hearing about the rookie across the field from him.
Big
like, don't forget about
opportunity.
me.
Yeah, he's got 7 saves already. And I think Towson may have taken an early timeout to preserve possession. They do. So it's an early Tigers lead roaring at the start here at Johnny Unitas Stadium. They lead number 2 Virginia 3-1. Back here at Johnny Unitas Stadium, Towson with an early 3-1 advantage against the second-ranked team in the country, the Virginia Cavaliers. Travis Eldridge, Greg Karenlian back with you here on LSN. And Greg, Towson coming out firing. The offense just about as sharp as they were against Hopkins last Friday night in that season opener, but the defense has come to play. Already 7 saves from Shane Brennan.
Yeah, Shane Brennan looks phenomenal. He looks poised. The offense is spinning the ball. They're getting into trouble once in a while, but they're pushing transition. They're trying to get early shots and dodges. And on defense, they've looked fantastic. I don't think this is a case of Virginia not showing up to play. I think this is a case of Towson well scouting and being prepared.
You see Brennan's the 6th-year redshirt senior from Huntington Station, New York. He has been through it all throughout his career. He was a starter early on. He then, you may remember, the year that Tyler Canto emerged for Towson, Shane Brennan went into the year as a likely starter, but an injury kept him out at the beginning of the year. Then they beat the number 1 team in the country in Loyola, so you had to go with the hot hand. He never really got the job back. He then returns the next year, gets injured again. Finally, a couple of healthy seasons for him to finish his Towson career. Nice skip pass across and another score. That one from way downtown. And the Tigers, thanks to James Avanzato, have a 4-1 lead.
What a look. Dodging down the alley, drawing the slide. The second slide, like it's supposed to, comes to the backside. And it leaves open. Watch the second slide. Comes all the way down to the crease, and we've got a wide open shot. That's game planning. I mean, he was looking for that pass. That is fantastic.
Give the assist to Kyle Berkeley, who already has a goal today. Came into today the top guy in points for the Tigers. He's adding to it. That was a clean face-off win for Santora.
Yeah. And if he can do that a couple times, it's going to force Virginia to keep slowly coming down onto the defensive end to stop a break, and he'll have his own wing clear and open.
Santora, you may remember, didn't take a majority of the faceoffs in the opener last Friday. Matt Constantinides, the freshman out of Connecticut, got the start. Santora taking a majority of the faceoffs in the win over Mount St. Mary's earlier this week, and Nadalin giving the edge to the sophomore here against Virginia early on.
Yeah, and it came down to experience. Constantinides held his own pretty well for a rookie playing against Hopkins in his first Division I game. That kid is going to be a star in the future, but it's really smart to go with experience in this game, and Shane Santora is doing well.
That shot deflected on its way through, backed up by Avanzato. 20 seconds left on the shot clock for Towson. That was a bit of an ambitious pass as the quarter comes to an end here, and the Tigers roaring from the very beginning, jumping on the 2-time defending champs. What a look from Kyle Berkeley to the backside. Tigers up by 3 after 1. Back here for the start of the second quarter at Johnny Unitas Stadium, our CAA game of the week, and the Tigers with a 4-1 advantage through 15 minutes over the 2-time defending champion Virginia Cavaliers. Travis Eldridge, Greg Karenlian back with you. Greg, what stood out the most in that opening 15 minutes to you?
Towson's efficiency and confidence. They know exactly where they're going, what they're doing on defense and offense. Shane Santora going toe-to-toe right now with arguably the best face-off guy in the country, Petey LaSala. Everything's going their way. Now we're going to find out what Towson's really made of. Virginia is notorious for having big second quarters after feeling you out, and we're going to see what Towson's made of now.
Santora and LaSala back out there at the face-off X, each of them winning 3 face-offs in that opening quarter.
Wow, what a great call by the official. Man. So Shane Santora, people have to understand, once you pop the ball out, you're a field player. It's fair game. Shane Santora, instead of panicking, lifted the stick, drove straight into LaSala's chest, which is totally legal. But as LaSala was falling, the referee caught him kind of hold on to Shane Santora's stick and pull him to the ground. I can't believe he saw that. That was a fantastic call by the ref.
And so it means the Tigers get the first possession of this second quarter. Berkeley has his step deflected on its way to the cage. That was a high shot, and there's the flag. So Virginia is going to go man up here. Chismar all the way in, cross crease pass, and a score. That was beautiful in transition, knowing the penalty was coming. The short stick drew the slide, and the Virginia Cavaliers get one back.
That's an energy play, and you do not want to give two-time national champions some energy plays. Great finish.
Got Xander Dixon on the backside, his 7th goal of the season. He's been one of the top scorers for Virginia here in his redshirt junior year out of Greenwich, Connecticut.
Man down face-off now because of the slash call.
They stick the long pole Sam Morin in there. We've seen that in the beginning part of this year for the Tigers.
And he's actually a very talented face-off guy. He can pop the ball forward. He's not going to just stand there and swipe.
So he just earned himself another flag. Here's LaSala. Look out. LaSala scores. 3rd goal of the season for the face-off man, and just like that, it's 4-3.
This is vintage LaSala, and when he's done one day as possibly the greatest face-off guy in Virginia history, these are really the moments we're going to remember. OTH doesn't affect him at all. Drives down, and in my opinion, he's the most prolific offensive threat out of all face-off guys in the country. And, I mean, when he's down on there on a break, it's pretty much a guaranteed goal. Gable Braun coming in now to take his first.
And he's a guy that, in talking to Lars Tiffany, gives LaSala fits in practice. Kind of iron sharpening iron. Here's an opportunity in transition. That one skirts away.
Yeah, I can't give Gabe Braun enough credit because he was a absolute legend in Maryland as a face-off man. And he's a phenomenal athlete, and he came into a role where, look, you're not going to play the first couple of years as the starter because we have a legend in front of you. And he took to the backup role, and a true backup role means that you're willing to switch up your moves and be different. And he's done that. He's become very good at counters.
Oh, there's the pressure again. It's Evan Zinn who intercepted the pass. Look out, Virginia. That one off the pipe.
Big break right there for Towson. They've got to clean it up on the clears.
This is the pressure that Sean Nadelin spoke to us about earlier this week. You have to know when you're playing Virginia, the type of pressure you're going to have all game long anytime you're trying to clear, and they've really ratcheted up here in the second quarter. Not in their DNA. They need to want to go out and earn everybody's respect.
Yeah, it is hard to climb the mountain, but it is way harder to stay on top of it when everybody's coming for you with their best.
Great play here. Open cage. Cormier deflected in front before it ever got to Brennan. And that is another good break for Towson. They dodged a bullet with that one.
It's funny, Lars Tiffany talking about this is the deepest offensive team he's ever had. This is a guy who's been to multiple Final Fours and has 2 national championships. That is horrifying to hear if you're another team.
Tigers just have not been able to figure out the Virginia pressure. Another failed clear.
You cannot give the best team in the country this many chances. Look at that, 10 turnovers.
I mean, all credit in the world to Towson's defense for finding a way to stay in the lead here, but there's only so many chances you can give them before they're going to find the back of the net a couple of times.
And this inadvertently affects your offense because they haven't had the ball in a while. So trigger fingers will be a little itchy when they get down there rather than sticking to the plan.
Schellenberger's shot set high. Here's Xander Dixon. Gets it to Simmons. Rolls and scores. All tied up at 4 apiece. 3 straight for the Cavs.
And this is what they do. Lars Tiffany is not a 2-time national champion for no reason at all. He's one of the best at in-game adjustments, at getting his team motivated to do things. Smooth roll.
Great placement on that shot as well. Offside hip for the goalie. Ground ball scooped up by the Virginia wing, and they go back to get the possession as Nunes will start the clear. And Lasala once again still on here offensively. Now he'll come off and they'll get the change.
How many face-off guys in the country are going to get the ball thrown to them on a clear? Not many.
Maybe you
it requires a lot of respect.
Maybe you count them on one hand.
You can count them on one finger, I'll tell you that much.
Here's Schutz, the freshman. One of the top players, according to Inside Lacrosse, in the Power 100 rankings. Kobe Smith tries to defend Schellenberger. You have to give credit to Kobe Smith so far. We have not said Schellenberger's name much, with the exception of that long-range bomb that he dropped in the first quarter.
Yeah, and that came off of a pass.
And Schutz just over the stick of Brennan, make it 4 in a row for Virginia.
Right now, it's one-on-one matchups. So if you're Towson and you're slow to slide, that's when you just have to start attacking the shorties, and they're going invert, which is smart. Great placement.
And a timeout here on the field. The freshman, Hughes, of course, with a monstrous test of having to play Maryland, the current #1 team in the country, this weekend, and then taking on Virginia, the current #2 team in the country, next weekend. Ground ball is initially scooped up by Stewart. Now Virginia has it.
That's now 2 straight face-offs. Shane Santor has been right on the whistle. And instead of just popping the ball through his legs, which is what a lot of us old school guys used to do, he tries to rotate counterclockwise. And that just gives your opponent, now that everybody's standing, gives your opponent time to just step in front of you and block your exit. If he can throw that ball through his legs, he'd have a lot of clean wins right now.
Virginia getting the midfielders on here. Patrick McIntosh seeing his first action for the Cavs, joined by Will Corey. Lars Tiffany had some really, really good things to say about Will Corey this week, the junior out of Charlottesville, Virginia. He's like, he's playing so well in practice, I can't keep him off the field in games. I got to find ways to get him on.
Yeah, he almost seemed distressed. Going down the list of names, he was looking over at his board in his office. He's like, yeah, all these guys are earning playing time, but how can you get everybody in a rhythm?
And there's a guy who's been in all sorts of rhythm this year, Schellenberger with his second. The Cavs run continues.
The things that Towson was doing in the first quarter, knowing exactly when to slide and when not to, keeping their head on a swivel to avoid cutters, locking down their man one-on-one, that's not happening. The face-off wins, making sure that you come up with the short ground balls when you're the first guy there, that's not happening like it was in the first quarter. And those things add up.
Schellenberger with a Kobe Smith stick lodged in his armpit, still scoring on that one as that's pushed ahead. And DeMeo collects the ground ball. This is a huge offensive possession for the Tigers. They've barely had it here in the first 5-6 minutes of the second quarter.
Yeah, and that was all hustle and will by the faceoff unit. It's funny, P. LaSalle just made the exact same mistake that Shane Santor did the two other faceoffs. Clamp and rotate, and that gave everybody a chance to dog him. This is a huge possession.
Before that shot, a 9-1 advantage for Virginia in shots here in the second quarter. First one missed by Milani. Here's Ryan Swain from the other wing, and he finds the chest of Nunes.
And this is what I alluded to if your offense hasn't had the ball yet, right? Two guys touched the ball in that offense. Both of them took a shot from a low angle. It's just been a while. And you know, you shoot to get hot, you shoot to stay hot. They have to get the ball in the offense more often so these guys can get touches and not feel like they have to do that.
Cade Sawstead, I don't think he got it over in time. You got to get it over before the clock hits 60 on the shot clock, and it's a turnover.
Great ride. That's how you win back possessions. That's how you stay in this game, with hustle like that.
Seen great things from Kyle Berkeley so far. A goal and an assist, number 8 in that gray Towson jersey. He has it here. Tries to run over a guy, gets it to Swain, deflected on its way through. But Berkeley able to keep the possession. Berkeley feeds inside and a score. First of the season for Luke Schilling, the 5th-year guy out of Baltimore.
This is the Towson offense we saw in the first quarter. Dodging to draw the slide, and now we're doing really good inside the crease here. Watch this motion to get open, follows the guy who slid, and then just comes straight back down. From the hip, right into the corner with confidence.
Luke Schilling, the transfer from Hopkins, his dad, Andy Schilling, a volunteer assistant for this Tigers program. So very cool to see Luke have an opportunity to close his college career playing for a team that his dad is on the staff of. Here's Peyton Cormier. Talk about big bodies, 6'2", 230. Back you down into the weight room. Zinn full head.
See, even
of
up
steam.
top, they're not switching. Even up top, they're staying with their matchups, trying to stay with their men as much as possible.
And that's an unlucky deflection. Cavs take advantage. Jack Simmons on the doorstep, his second of the day.
Yeah, they did everything right. This is just terrible luck. Actually, a very heads-up play, thinking that I'm going to race to the end line here because this is going to be a shot. And instead, it just doesn't quite trickle through. And you hate to see it.
Yeah, that's just being right place, right time for Jack Simmons. It's his 3rd goal of the year. Senior out of the McDonough School. Still a battle for that loose ball, scooped up by the LSM Scott Bauer.
When he's not winning the clamp, Shane Santora is doing everything right. Every coach in the country should be watching exactly what he's doing, staying on his feet, lifting the gloves. And Towson's making every face-off a battle.
Full head of steam here out of the box. Good ball movement. Tough angle shot saved by Brennan. Garrett Singalia trying to get out of traffic. Travis Maynard scoops it forward, and there is Avanzato.
It's exactly how they wrote up the clear, I'm sure. Whatever gets it done right now, man.
Yeah, at this point, with some of the issues they've had here in the second quarter, anytime you can get it to the offensive unit without too many issues, you're good to go. By the way, what a find Berkeley has been for Towson. I mean, we've seen his feeding on full display, and we saw the scoring ability so far this year as well. He is really drawing a lot of attention from opposing defenses.
Yeah, a welcome addition. I mean, last year, that was the one thing this team really could have used was a little bit more offensive firepower, and the transfers have really brought that immediately.
Here is Berkeley, down to 14 on the shot clock. Berkeley trying to get to the middle, and he scores again. 4 points in the first half for the Terp transfer.
I mean, this looks like a shooting drill. You're catching it on the left side of the field, jab step, boom, sell it, clear your hands, and shoot. Perfect. That's why you practice it.
I mean, also, mind you, he's doing that with Quentin Matsui on him and Cade Sostad coming to help him out. Those are two guys who are All-America type defensemen. Cade Sostad's been an All-American. I wouldn't be surprised if Quentin Matsui is an All-American at some point here in his Virginia Cavalier career, and he's beaten them both.
Yeah, that was really impressive.
And there's a takeaway check from Towson. And they get another possession.
It says a lot when you can go toe-to-toe with Virginia on loose balls, especially their face-off units, and come up with tough, gritty ground balls. That's what they're known for.
Got Austin Dukeman in there as part of this midfield unit. Out of British Columbia. Guy who can match up with the size here for Virginia, 6'5", 220. Working at X, here's Stewart. Pass high for Schilling, and Quentin Matsui scoops up the ground ball. Matsui part of that USA U21 roster that'll be heading to Ireland for the World Championships this summer. Finally. I forgot about Shizmar for a second.
Those kids have been chomping at the bit. That team is loaded.
Yeah, and they've all gotten a couple of years of collegiate experience now under their belts.
Yeah.
Brendan O'Neill will be one of the stars of that show. Can't wait to see them compete in Ireland. That's going to be a really fun tournament coming up this summer.
Yeah, essentially you're going to have a college all-star team, which is so weird.
Here's Simmons. Took his eye off of it there for a second. Did Schellenberger. Goes back to retreat. Still 20 on the shot clock. Smith hounding him. 6 seconds to shoot. Finds the side of the cage. Schellenberger gets it back. Shot wide. They did not reset the shot clock because it didn't hit the post. If it hits the side of the cage, it doesn't reset. It's only if it hits the front part of the goalie. And so a shot clock violation of Virginia.
The amount of talent on this Virginia team. Oh. Ooh, that was close. The amount of talent on this offensive team and the fact that they love to push it on offense, you don't see a lot of those violations. And to hold them to a shot clock violation is really crazy.
Nicely done there by Brandon Hund, the short stick, to get out of harm's way and get it to the offensive unit here. Allison has figured out the clear a bit more. Latter stages of the second quarter allowing them to claw back to within one. Got Swain with it way outside. He's matched up with Grayson Soliday, the short stick. Here's Berkeley now. Little shimmy shake. Berkeley shoots wide.
Same jab step. Great move.
He sees that short stick matchup, and his eyes get very big.
Well, it's smart because Towson's obviously trying to draw the slide and then throw it back, whether it's back up top or across the field. You're going to have a guy who's flying out there to recover. That's the time you use that jab step.
That was a tough angle shot with the shot clock winding down. So we have back-to-back shot clock violations for these two. So we've been proved wrong, Greg. We didn't think we were going to see many of those today, but we have them back-to-back possessions.
Yeah. I mean, at some point the defenses have to step up a little bit. But I think the cool thing that the shot clock era has brought us is teams are not afraid any longer to take shots.
Here's a turnover. And scooped right back by Cole Kastner, making up for his mistake.
It's a one-point game right now, but the possession advantage Virginia has is ridiculous because of these rides.
Keep an eye. Ryan Swain, the offensive midfielder, caught on. He's matched up with Peter Garno at the top. See if Virginia wants to try to take advantage of that. Griffin Schutz, the freshman, taking his man behind. Strong defensive stand. Less than a minute to go here. 10-man ride. Just shot wide, and there's no backup.
That is a great way to get a team to stop going with the 10-man ride. Stick a 70-yard goal.
You'd like to see that shot happen if there's a backup there offensively. You have somebody else in the end line. Towson took their shot anyway, and it ends up losing a possession. 23 seconds to go here in the half, and Virginia takes their final timeout. I want to talk things over here for their final possession here of this first half. Greg, I've been impressed at Towson here. They weathered the storm early in this quarter, and now it seems like they've settled back down, even with the Virginia pressure.
Yeah, people have to remember, regardless of what team you are, you're dealing with new kids every year, and experience trumps everything in sports. Towson came out to, they had a lot of confidence, but I've been in these games, you're a young guy, you score, and you're kind of like, you're up and high, but you're like, okay, I think we kind of poked the bear a little bit, so we're going to brace for this second quarter, right? And you could tell they were playing white-knuckled. Virginia was all over them. The fact that they were able to take those punches to the face and then settle in and strike back themselves, now you're going to see confidence. Now they're going to be like, you know what, we belong on this field. And even though, Coach Nads and Towson belongs on the field at Virginia, these kids have to know that they do too. And I think you're starting to see that confidence.
And defensively, they've done a nice job. Remember, Virginia is playing without one of their starting midfielders, Jeff Connor, out. He was banged up in the win over High Point last Sunday for the Cavs, so they're playing without him, but they've gotten it from some of their key pieces. We have not seen another guy who has not been there in the lineup is Matt Moore. He has not played today for Virginia, so a couple of key pieces for the Cavs that we have not seen.
Yeah, Matt Moore is a bona fide superstar. Definitely going to be a PLL draftee one day. So that's a big miss.
We had not heard anything about him. We had heard about Connor earlier this week and that he was going to be out for a week, maybe more, depending on his injury. But we had not heard about Matt Moore. We have not seen him on the field yet today. Garno, left hand, just high. Still time here, just under 10 seconds to go in the half. Another shot wide. And they're going to make him come all the way over to the corner. Full head of steam. Got to go quickly. Schellenberger looking inside. Stopped by Brennan, and that will end this first half. So Virginia comes in, Towson leading 4-1 after one, but after that early hot start for the Cavs to the second quarter, Towson responding. Kyle Berkeley with 4 points for the Tigers. They're within one of the second-ranked team in the country here at the half. The Cavs with a 1-goal lead, third quarter in a bit, but for now it's halftime here on LSN. Teams back on the field here at Johnny Unitas Stadium. We are back with you on LSN, a 7-6 game as we get ready to start this third quarter. Travis and Greg with you, and a couple of offensive players out for Virginia. We got an update throughout halftime on Matt Moore. He is out today with a lower extremity injury, according to Virginia. He is day-to-day, so not playing today. We don't know his status moving forward. We mentioned in that first half, Jeff Connor out at least a week with an injury he sustained during the High Point game. So those are two starting players for Virginia that are out. And at times you saw Towson be able to take advantage of that defensively here, Greg, and stay within striking distance here of the Cavs.
Yeah, Towson, they know they belong in this game right now, and the confidence is there. So I'm looking forward to a second half where we're going, punch for punch. It all starts with Shane Santor and his ability to hang in there and get the lion's share of these faceoffs for the Towson Tigers.
Once again, facing off against Petey LaSala.
So right here, Shane Santor sprints off the field. It's an immediate man advantage for Virginia. They do a great job of recovering.
Quickly drop back into the hole. And a long pole still on there as Bauer had some trouble catching that, and now he will come off for the final sub for Virginia. With Matt Moore out and Jeff Connor, we've seen the ball in the stick of a couple of different pieces. We've seen Griffin Schutz handle it a bunch. Obviously, Schellenberger, Peyton Cormier's taking his turns as well.
Valuable experience, and also an opportunity for these young, highly touted players to get their name out there.
Here's Schutz, sends it behind. Now Xander Dixon. Now Schellenberger. Doesn't have Kobe Smith on him. Instead, it's Colby Bars. And Schellenberger stopped by Brennan. Brennan staying hot here early in the second half.
I'm sure Coach Nadalin had a lot to say about effective clears in this second half.
Brandon Hunn's shot was deflected. It was eaten up by Virginia. And now we're going the other way. It's like a hockey player diving in front to stop a shot.
Yeah, that's tough too. You start the half off with a great stop, and Virginia's right back on now.
Here's the freshman Griffin Schutz again. #1 freshman in the country in Inside Lacrosse's Power 100. Gets the hands free. Another stop for Brennan. He's up to 11 saves.
It gives the defense a lot of confidence when their goaltender's playing like this. You just feel like no matter what, we can stay in this game.
And now they'll settle things down. They get Kyle Berkeley in this first midfield on. Milani, Swain joining him. Berkeley leading everybody with 4 points in that first half. See Berkeley now picking up the long pole. They actually, now as they send it behind to Schilling, he's got the short stick, the attackman. So they've decided to double pull the midfield here, Virginia.
It's smart because then that way if there's a slide, he won't have a shorty recovering to him every time for that jab step move and then take it to the rack.
That defense just hounding Towson, and they force the turnover. that Jurassic Park defense, when it comes closing in on you, it is trouble.
It's actually the perfect name for it.
Can't take credit for that one, as they earned that nickname down the stretch last year in the NCAA tournament, but it is, I mean, I don't want anything to do with that defense. Good feed inside. Right. The Cavs strike first. Will Corey with his 3rd goal of the season.
In a game of runs like this, you know both teams desperately wanted that first goal of the quarter. Great look inside. A rare, so far in this game,
So puts Virginia up by 2 here, 8-6. After a couple of sloppy possessions, ending in turnovers here early and saves. Towson wins the face-off on the ground ball. Scooped up by Reese Potter, the short stick D-Mitty. Continue to hold their own here at the face-off X. Now a 10-8 face-off advantage for Virginia.
Yeah, Towson's locking off the wings, and Shane Santora is doing a great job when he doesn't win that initial clamp of digging underneath the gloves. And LaSalle's popping it out into free space, and it's becoming a 3-on-3 face-off. And that's exactly what you want when you're going against a talented guy like that.
Stewart taken down. Nice recovery. Tigers couldn't convert there on the doorstep. Ball still loose. Terrific effort there by Virginia to grab possession.
You're seeing guys on both sides just selling out for everything right now. This has been a really energetic, like high-effort game on both sides.
Cade Sostad brings it over midfield. Now Evans in. And offsides on Virginia, turnover. Quickly ahead, numbers for the Tigers, and it's stopped on the doorstep by Nunes. DeMeo just took a big shot after it. And that will get the Tigers a possession back.
What a huge save. I mean, really heads-up play, winning the whistle for Towson. And then just a big stop.
Nick DeMeo took that hit from Cade Sostad, who was a first-team All-State football player in Texas, and I don't think he enjoyed that very much.
Yeah, I heard they're pretty good at football down there.
Little zone look here for Virginia as that shot is deflected. It'll stay here with the Tigers.
You know, Travis, interesting. Speaking of Texas, I mean, you have the rookie in goal from the Woodlands. Drexel has a freshman, Grant Isika, face-off man from the Woodlands in Texas. Lacrosse is coming up down there, man, and it's great to see.
Yeah, some big-time talent. And speaking of talent, Nick DeMeo shooting lasers from the tough angle, his second of the day.
It's a little bit further out, but reminds me of his first goal of the game. Smooth catch and release. Drift off that backside. Low to high. I mean, his release is so low that the goalie drops to his knees and he shoots it about shoulder height and it still goes in.
Maybe advocating to be picked up by the Archers Lacrosse Club with that kind of celebration.
No, Gittleman doesn't like face-off guys, so I don't think the Archers are going to have one this year.
Virginia wins the face-off. 11th face-off won here by Petey Lusala. He is now just one away from tying the Virginia all-time face-off wins record.
Yeah, taking over Jack DeVilliers would be a remarkable accomplishment. One of the greatest face-off guys in NCAA history.
Peter Garno sends it behind. Xander Dixon here. Looks inside. Fake and a score. Big time response from the Cavs. It's Peyton Cormier's first of the day.
Good rollback. They're being real active in the crease, coming from X all the way around, again with the shorty chasing you. It makes it so hard to know who's going to slide and when you're doing that.
Ball squirts back toward the Towson side. Potter in there, and Morin, the long pole, scoops it up for the Tigers. Sam Morin, the freshman from Garnet Valley, Pennsylvania, playing right away here for Towson, and he's been really impressive on the face-off wings. We've seen him take some draws, especially in man-down situations. He's a really versatile piece that has been a nice addition for the Tigers.
Yeah, Garnet Valley has some monsters that come out of there. Great athletes in the Philly area.
Tough catch there by Milani and sent wide.
Coach Nads thinks very, very highly of him, and rightfully so. To get this much time early, so he's a young guy. He overextends himself sometimes, goes for the check that he doesn't need, but he's going to learn that stuff. What you can't teach is talent. He's got that in spades.
DeMeo trying to get that one inside, and there's the size and length of this Virginia defense. Kastner steals it away. Put 6'7" Cole Kastner with a 6-foot pole, and there's just not a lot of space to get it past him. Ball loose. Here's Garrett Singalia trying to track down the ground ball. Stays in on the end line, and Cormier picks it up.
You haven't seen a single ground ball in this game where one team has three guys over there and the other team, just one guy, or everyone's just kind of standing and watching. There's constant battles, multiple guys for every ground ball.
Zinn to Dixon, squeezing it inside to score. What a catch and finish from Simmons. He's got a hat trick.
Draped all over him. This is some weight room stuff. Lars Tiffany will love this. That's going to look real good in the film room.
Jack Simmons emerging as a guy who's mixed in on that first midfield today, and he's taking advantage of that playing time. Senior from Lutherville, Maryland, had just 1 assist in 10 games last year. He's got 3 goals already today, 4 now on the year. Like Potter had a chance at that ground ball. It's kept alive on the end line and now finally scooped up by Towson.
I am incredibly impressed, not just with Shane Santora, but the entire face-off unit for Towson. I mean, take this kind of athletic, awesome face-off man in his unit and to out-ground ball them on a lot of these 3-on-3 face-offs is just really incredibly impressive.
It's kept them in this game. Got a loose ball push there as Kyle Berkeley was trying to get a shot off, so that's why it stays with Towson. Trailing by 3 now, under 6 minutes to go in the third. Just a little off of that pass inside, and Sostad picks up the loose ball. Peter Garno races across. Cade Sostad mentioned him as a first-team All-State performer in high school as a football player. He played with Jerry Jones's grandson, who was the quarterback of that Highland Park team. You may remember the highlight. Sostad not only caught what was the game-tying touchdown, also caught the eventual game winner, and during this crazy state championship game, recovered the onside kick that gave Highland Park the opportunity to eventually win the game. The dude did it all. He had more than 220 receiving yards in the game. That set a state record for a championship game performance. Gives you a little perspective of just how talented he was as a football player, opting instead to play here at Virginia for lacrosse.
Yeah, I mean, Highland Park, that is big boy ball. And we're talking about Texas athletes. I mean, Anthony Gabriel, the running back for that team, is now a freshman at Navy.
Yeah, they had all sorts of talent on that squad. Like, you're not talking about 2A high school football in Texas. You're talking about 5 and 6A football.
Yeah, it's really impressive. And it's really cool to see a lot of these athletes starting to trend towards lacrosse. And the trajectory of the sport continues to rise because of the quality of the athletes.
Absolutely. Nakai Montgomery, another guy who was a terrific high school football player in Texas. Guy had the opportunity to actually play some on the Duke football team this year. Hands free for Dukeman, shot wide. You know, Navy wants to get Xavier Arline healthy. Guy was quarterback for the Mids football team and one of the most highly regarded lacrosse recruits in the country.
Yeah, that'd be a heck of a pickup for a Navy team that just crushed Hofstra yesterday.
Yeah, that was a nice win for him. Another intercepted pass by Kastner. This one deflected away. Kobe Smith showing you, hey, we got All-American defensemen on this end too.
He's been tremendous today.
Smith with a goal in that first half on an absolute laser from about 15, 16 yards out.
I'd like to see Towson get back to the dodge and feed. Draw the slide, throw it back up top. They've been in a little bit of a lull, trying to do a little too much. Each guy trying to do a little too much right now.
That was a great takeaway. I think it was Chismar, the short stick. Now Bauer in transition, feeds and scores. End-to-end action for the Cavs. It's Cormier with his second.
Thoroughbred's got to run. Speed up the field. It's hard enough to beat a team this good without giving up transition goals. Gut check time for Towson.
And Virginia sends Gabe Braun to the face-off X to face Santora, and Santora draws the violation.
You know, it's interesting when you have a guy come in who you know for a fact is going to be a counter guy or a rake guy. It makes you overthink as you go down for the face-off. And if you're thinking too much, you'll start to go early, or you might start to be a little bit too cute with your moves. Seems like that's what happened there for Shane Santora.
And it gives Virginia the ball here, up by 4, nearing 2 minutes to go in the quarter. McIntosh. Saved by Brennan. Schutz has a chance at the ground ball, and he keeps it alive. Fresh 60 for Virginia. Remember the new rule this year, once the shot clock gets past 60 seconds, every reset is just 260, and they don't even need that. Schutz goes up top. Cavs on a run, 12-7. Just goes one-on-one with the pole, and he beats him. Here the wind continuing to howl, and they go back to Gabe Braun. Face-off X for Virginia.
Yeah, both guys kicking their feet back and locking up, so it doesn't really matter who pulls the ball out. It's going to be a mess.
And scooped up by Danny Parker.
You know, it's a lot different than it was on a knee. On a knee, when guys were facing off before the rule change, you would rotate, you try to dominate over top of the ball, and then pick your exits. Standing neutral grip should be at its best more of a chess match. You pick a move, you're in and out quick. Rakes, counters are all more usable now, and just made for a faster face-off with less injuries.
Here's Jack Simmons, a hat trick today. One of 7 goal scorers for Virginia, who despite not having Jeff Cotter or Matt Moore, has found offense in other places today. Here's Xander Dixon, splits 2, shoots high.
Towson needs a good stop to finish this quarter here. They have to continue to play their game. Oh.
Schellenberger feeding Cormier. He's got 3. Schellenberger's first assist of the day.
That's been the difference. UVA attacking the crease with cuts, scoring inside here in the second half. Ball watching, that is not what they were doing in the first quarter. You had 4 guys staring at the ball, crease cuts and dunks.
So a timeout called here with 35 seconds to go in the third. We've seen Gable Braun, take the last several faceoffs here for Virginia, but Petey LaSalla entered today just 13 faceoffs from passing Jack DeVilliers for the program record here at Virginia. He's now just 1 away, as you see Petey there on the sideline. Greg, Jack was a guy you faced off against. Am I correct?
My rookie year, my freshman year at Penn State, the last game, one of the last games of the season, I was playing against Jack DeVilliers, and he faced off against me. He had this old, aftershock, severe aftershock, and when he won the face-off, the ball stayed in the back of the stick, and I never, ever knew you were allowed to do that. I'd never seen it before. And I was like, this guy, what is this guy doing? He's a wizard. And I practiced that move the entire summer afterwards, and we played each other again my sophomore year, and we went toe-to-toe. And because of him in that game, I learned how to do a pinch and pop, keeping the ball in the back of my stick. It completely changed my career by playing against him. He went on to play in the pros. He's one of the greatest face-off guys in history. I have nothing but respect for him.
That is unbelievable, because that is something you obviously helped you win an MVP in Major League Lacrosse.
Yeah, Jack, if you're listening, thanks for the assist, man. Appreciate it.
You can get a little share of the MVP award there to Jack DeVilliers, but Petey LaSalla 2 faceoffs away. So it will happen this year. Likely will happen today, as he's back out there to face Santoro. He's 1 faceoff away from tying, 2 away from passing him on the Virginia all-time list.
Yeah, it's interesting watching him warm up on the sideline. He's changed his stance this year.
And there it is. He's tied atop the Virginia all-time faceoff wins list.
What a place to be. That is one heck of a list.
Almost picked up an assist to go along with the goal he has today. Look out, Schellenberger off the pipe. And Kobe Smith,
and what's crazy,
tracks it down in the corner,
is he's got another year of eligibility.
I mean, he can really set that all-time list.
Yeah. That might get out of hand, that record.
Does it count? End of the quarter, they will count it. Virginia end-to-end action to finish off the third. Xander Dixon with his second. Just beats the buzzer. And the Cavs are clicking here in the second half. Xander Dixon goes 5-hole. He's got a couple. Virginia 14-7. Travis Eldridge, Greg Gurenlian back with you for the start of the fourth quarter at Johnny Unitas Stadium. This game was a 1-goal game at 8-7. Towson getting the goal from Nick DeMeo. Virginia responding with 6 straight goals to end that third quarter, including a buzzer beater from Xander Dixon. The assist to Connor Schellenberger there at the end of the quarter, and it is now a 7-goal Virginia lead. Can happen that fast against the 2-time defending champs.
Petey LaSalla going for the record on this one.
1 face-off went away from the Virginia all-time record. He had it in his grasp, and he couldn't pick up the ground ball.
I think he stepped on the ball. It seemed like he rolled his ankle.
That close. Once again, it was a long clearing pass on a windy day, too.
To be honest, it's probably better he didn't pick that ball up because he was running right into the crease against two defenders, and I don't think it would have ended well. I hope his ankle's all right, though.
So Towson gets a possession to start the final quarter. First midfield on of Swain, Milani, and Berkeley. Here's Avanzado, hasn't got much going today. Berkeley has, though. Drawing all sorts of attention right away. Every one of these dodges. Flag down. And that'll be the first man-up opportunity for Towson today. He had the one penalty served. It's been a pretty clean game so far, and Virginia goes to the box for the first time.
Yeah, I was just thinking, we haven't seen a lot of man-up.
So Towson, Ryan Swain got the slash, and then we had another flag down that was wiped off by a goal. Otherwise, this has been a really well-played game. See what the Tigers can drum up on the man-up. Long-range shot deflected before it ever got to Nunes.
And that's going to drive Coach nuts. You got a man advantage, bang the ball around a few times, get the best look you can.
See some of the snow flurries starting to come down in Towson, Maryland. There was a chance toward the end of this game that we would get some snow, and turns out we are. Evan Zinn just going to eat up the rest of this man-down situation for the Cavs. You're just joining us, a reminder, Virginia playing today without starting attackman Matt Moore and starting midfielder Jeff Connor. Both out due to injury. Moore listed as day-to-day. Connor, talking to Lars Tiffany, said he'd be out at least this week, unsure of his status moving forward after this game. So something to keep an eye on for Virginia as they host Syracuse in Charlottesville next weekend. Schellenberger backside to Dixon. He couldn't get it in. Schellenberger feeds again inside. This time they finish. Cormier with his fourth.
In this second half, the thing that Virginia on offense has done that's really given Towson issues, they have this high-low crease, and they got two guys inside there. So the hot man, or the guy who's going to slide, is going to change constantly depending on what those two guys are doing. That creates so much motion, and it doesn't make it an easy look. When there's one guy in the crease, everybody knows who's hot. So when you're dodging and those guys are going up and down or front to back, you're not really sure.
Have a whistle, hold, and the Tigers will get possession, so LaSala has to wait another face-off to become Virginia's all-time leader.
I got to be honest, being in this situation when I was playing with the Lizards and knowing there's a record there, I had no idea how many I was away. It made it a lot easier. I'm glad I didn't know, because it has to be in your mind. And I wonder if Petey has any idea down there. How many he needs or what it is.
You hope not, because you're right. There's a pressure of you want to do something special to do it. So every time you're like, maybe I could do this and score, and how cool would that be?
Yeah. And Petey LaSalle is not a records guy. I'll tell you right now, he's not a guy who cares about that stuff. He wants to win. But he's human, and that affects you.
Another flag down. It's another man-up chance for Towson. if the Tigers can find one here to the back of the net after a missed opportunity on the man up a second ago. There's Tiffany bringing a whole host of players over to the sideline to have a conversation with them. Schilling feeds. Berkeley deflected again. And it was loose there for a second in front. It was a good look for Avanzato, just couldn't get it around. Evan Zinn clears it. Look out. Cormier all day.
They really tried to slow play that slide. Backside was covering 2. Really didn't know when to go. They got lucky there.
Peyton Cormier, the junior from Oakville, Ontario, isn't going to miss many of those when he's able to crow hop 3 times.
No, he is not going to miss that again.
Virginia going to kill off the rest of this penalty. Schellenberger has it in the corner. A couple of goals and a couple of assists for the Tewaaraton candidate. Kobe Smith, I think, broke his stick. So he's got to come off to get a new twig, and it ends up in the crease there of Brennan. Here's Morin. Look how fast Kobe Smith got a new stick, and all of a sudden he's on the offensive end.
Yeah, he is a great athlete.
You know, Kobe Smith, throughout his career at Towson, has faced just about every great attackman we've seen in the college game over the last 5 years. I mean, he really got a lot of the attention when he jumped onto the scene by defending Pat Spencer of Loyola. He's gone up against Jeff Teat, Grant Ament. I mean, everybody. Got Schellenberger now. Rebound, stopped by Nunes.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a guy who's ready for PLL play. He's basically played half the All-Stars.
It's true. A loose ball scooped up there by Regan McNamara. Get another possession for Towson. Here on about a quarter-long scoreless drought. Dodging there on the wing is Stewart. Looking for that skip passing. Shit, with the size of this Virginia defense, it's just, you're not going to find a way through very often. This is Bauer.
Yeah, you're not going to find your way through when they're all waiting for it. When you're making the move and have to slide, a guy running to cover, on the second slide is not going to probably be running with his stick to intercept the pass. He's trying to get to his man. That's when you can throw those skips, but if you don't beat your guy and they're all just staring at you, it's not going to work out.
So a settled set for Virginia as we're under 8 minutes to go here, a 15-7 Cavs lead. Looking to move to 3-0 here on the season after squeaking one out against High Point last weekend. It's a game they had a 10-6 lead on in the third, and then just didn't finish strong. Let High Point hang around and get within one. That one off the post. And I think a loose ball push is going to keep this with Virginia. Resets the shot clock to 60, and Schellenberger going to take his time. Been a battle all day between Smith and Schellenberger, between a couple of Tewaaraton candidates, both named to the top 50 list to start off this season. Donald Kumar in there, number 50 in blue for Virginia. He dodges the alley. Spin and a score. Well, they give it to him, they will. Another goal for Jack Simmons. He's got 4.
What an athletic play here. Keeping his feet and then getting drilled helmet to helmet. Surprised we didn't see a flag on that.
Kind of had the 1 foot like hovering over the crease, but it never actually stepped in there.
Yeah.
16th goal of the day here for Virginia, and we mentioned the guys that have been out. It's really just given opportunities for guys like Simmons. Came into today with just 1 goal the first 2 games, only 1 assist in 10 games last year, and he's got 4 today. Big day for the senior out of Lutherville, Maryland. Played at the McDonough School.
So they did get a penalty on that.
Yeah, that was a man-up
but
face-off for Virginia.
After the shot, so I don't know. I didn't know if that was going to be a dead ball or not, if the ball went in the goal already or not. But anyway, Gabe Braun took that last face-off with Petey LaSalle tied for that record.
And so Virginia, with a 16-7 lead and a man-up, takes a timeout. 6:22 to go here on LSN. We step aside. So back here on LSN, Virginia riding an 8-0 run to take a 16-7 lead. This was a 1-goal game at 8-7, kind of around the midway point of this third quarter, and Virginia has just dominated since. Last goal scored by Jack Simmons, his 4th of the day. Jack Simmons coming into this year having scored just 4 goals in his career, 3 in 2019, 1 earlier this year. Well, he's doubled his career numbers in this game alone. And Virginia out of the timeout has the man up. They feed inside, deflected. Loose ball, Zangalia trying to dance out of trouble. Ball's loose again. And it's scooped up by Corey. Still a little bit more time on the man up. Cormier feeds and a score. Kumar, his 2nd career goal, 1st of the year. Just a rip to the top shelf for the sophomore out of New Jersey, former New Jersey midfielder of the year. Reese Potter just took a shot. Drew draws the flag.
Great tough ground ball, too.
By the way, I have to mention, I don't know if that is a Maryland jacket that is being worn by one of the guys there in the substitution box, but would it be a foul, a party foul, for a Maryland jacket to be on the sidelines of a Virginia Towson game?
That guy is not allowed to any house parties tonight, I guarantee that.
Feed inside. Man up opportunity for Towson again. They've not been real sharp on these here in the 4th quarter. Berkeley. Oh, no.
Oh.
Holding that right knee. Got up quickly. That's good news. Hope he's all right.
Oh, he got whacked. That sure looked like something else, and
Yeah.
I was real worried.
Gonna get checked out by the training staff here. Kyle Berkeley, what he's done so far this year, that looks like he's in for a terrific season for the Tigers. So we hope he's all good. He looks to be all right, jogging off the field. And now a 6-on-4 Towson advantage. Trying to snap that scoreless drought. Long range shot, there it is. James Avanzado with his second of the day.
Keep fighting, regardless of the score. Good to see that ball movement.
By the way, that goal scored against David Rosell, the junior out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He comes in to relieve Matthew Nunes.
Gabe Braun showing something that I wish more Division I faceoff guys would be able to do, which is just win the clamp and throw it through your legs to the wing. It's a lost art, and it would really help guys across the country to watch that game film right there.
I mean, we were talking about it earlier, and we spoke about it with Lars Tiffany. He gives P.D. LaSala, one of the better faceoff guys in the country, fits in practice with what he's doing.
Petey's probably experiencing with Gable Braun what I experienced with Jerry Raganese when I was in the pros. Is Jerry knew what I wasn't good at, and in practice he would constantly expose anything that I wasn't good at, and it would make me improve. So he's really helped Petey LaSalle become who he is by taking on this role of countering and shoveling, and he still has that great hand speed as well. So he's going to be a bright spot for them when it's his turn.
Regan Quinn tried to go around the back. Shot saved by Brennan. 14 saves now for Shane Brennan. At double-digit saves in the first half. Really kept Towson in it at times when the pressure was on for the Tigers. Nunes, by the way, day done with 6 saves, 7 goals against for the freshman. Just over 3 minutes to go in this one. Towson will look ahead to another task. They've got Richmond next weekend. Another home game here for the Tigers. Don't have to leave Johnny Unitas Stadium for the first 4 weeks of their season as they get a goal here on the backside. Bodie Maurer.
It's a great look.
Bodie Maurer's first of the day.
Simple crease cut. These types of things can start to open up at the end of a game. Virginia was all over. It was just a great pass and great finish.
Maurer, a guy who got his first career goal earlier this week against Mount St. Mary's in the third quarter. Freshman out of Kirkland, Washington. Now 2 goals in his Towson career.
Looks like Constantinides is in to take this face-off.
Now, loose ball push gives it back to Towson. Mentioned what's ahead for Virginia. Things only get more difficult. Next 3 games for the Cavs. You got Syracuse coming to town, Hopkins coming to Charlottesville, and then a trip to North Carolina before a national championship rematch with Maryland. So Virginia better get ready because the tests are coming here for the 2-time defending champs.
Yeah, we talked about being the king of the hill and how hard it is, and you're getting everybody's best shot. And instead of worrying about if everyone's giving you your best shot, you have to focus on just constantly improving. And it's hard to do that when you're already at the top. So they've handled it once. Let's see if they can handle it again this season.
You got Maryland and Syracuse matching up tomorrow in the Carrier Dome. Craig, that face-off matchup, what are you interested in seeing?
Man, I think Jake Falk, when he's in the dome, is a bad man. And he's about as dialed in as I've ever seen him. I saw him over the breaks, and he is very confident right now. And he has Jack Fine, a very, very good freshman, in behind him. But Weirman is looking good, and Gavin Ty has a fresh start in Maryland. So, man, it's going to be fantastic to watch.
That should be a really fun game. You see Patrick McIntosh get his first goal of the year, the sophomore. Guy who played in 3 games last year, scored a couple of goals before a season-ending injury. By the way, Petey LaSala looks like he may have taken his last face-off of the day, so he will finish today most likely tied for the career face-off lead here in Virginia history. Maybe a chance to get that record at home next weekend against Syracuse back in Charlottesville.
Yeah, and like I said, it looked like on one of those face-offs, he stepped on the ball. He kind of hopped up, rolled his ankle, maybe stepping on that ball. I hope he's all right. I'm bummed for him. But it gives Gabe Braun a lot of opportunity to continue to improve in big games, and we're going to be seeing a lot of Gable Braun down the line.
Well, and with the length of the season and where Virginia hopes to be playing in May, having a guy who can change it up and not put all the pressure on Petey LaSala only is something that will help them as that one rings the bar.
Yeah, Coach Lars, he said he's guilty of kind of riding the Petey LaSala train a little too hard sometimes. Not quite a pitch count, but knowing when to take him out. And Gabe has really proven himself. And I think, having a changeup, and that's what not enough teams do. They don't have a guy who's the second string. Usually the second string does the same move, just not as well as the starter. Virginia has a backup in Gabe Braun who can legitimately throw you a serious curveball and changeup. And it's going to benefit them come tournament time for sure.
By the way, we got a hoodie under the jersey alert for Regan Quinn, number 19 in blue for Virginia.
Uh-oh. We're gonna need a fashion.
Where's the fashion police?
Yeah, where's Kyle Devitt at? Tell us if this is okay or not.
And Virginia is gonna run this one out. Cavs 3-0 here in 2022. A dominant victory for Virginia. Just absolutely putting their foot down here in the second half. They outscored Towson 11-3 after halftime, and they walk away with an 18-9 win. They are now 3-0. The Tigers dropped to 1-2, losing a couple of games against a couple of ranked teams in Hopkins and Virginia so far this year. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll wrap this one up here from Johnny Unitas Stadium. We welcome you back here to Johnny Unitas Stadium. Putting a bow on this one, Virginia, the two-time defending national champions, second-ranked team in the country with an 18-9 victory over Towson in our CAA Game of the Week. Travis Eldridge, Greg Gurenlian back to recap this one. And one of the stars of the show, especially in the second half for Virginia, Greg, was Peyton Cormier. 4 goals for the junior out of Canada.
Yeah, this is the deepest offense in the country, and you never know who's going to light it up. Peyton Cormier, he's getting the call today. Schellenberger started off hot. Peyton, sticking G's. This team looks really, really good.
And, of course, Cormier stepping up with Jeff Cotter and Matt Moore out of the lineup here offensively for the Cavs due to injury. We'll keep an eye on their status as we move forward to next week against Syracuse. But today, not a problem. Virginia, 11 second-half goals as they walk away with the victory. Greg, final thoughts from what we saw here today.
Towson showed that they have the talent and they have the ability to hang in these big games and be dominant. As they get closer to CAA conference play, they need to be able to put together an entire game. And Virginia, they're going to have to find a way to not start off slow as they get into ACC play. So it'll be interesting to see down the line.
So that will do it for us here today from Towson. Once again, your final score, number 2, Virginia 18, Towson 9. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Some women's action for you. Perennial power Maryland visiting William & Mary. That next game coming your way on March 5th. But for now, for Greg Gurenlian, our producer Dylan Hand, and our entire crew, I'm Travis Eldridge saying so long from Maryland. Enjoy the rest of your college lacrosse weekend.